My name is Dennis Gill with the Americans in Wartime Experience. Today's date is 5 March 2022, and I'm in Northern Virginia interviewing Kelly Cushman. Welcome, ma'am. Thank you very much for sitting down and talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
If you could just give us a little bit of background. Where did you grow up? Where were you born? That kind of thing.
Sure. I was born at Fort Benning, Georgia. My dad was a career Army officer, and I grew up all around the world.
Okay. What do you call home now?
I call South Carolina home, even though I've lived in Virginia for probably 25 years.
Okay. What brought you to this area?
Work. I got a job working for a U.S. senator after college, and never left D.C. after that. Yeah.
Never left. Okay. Where did you go to high school? Where did you graduate?
I went to high school in Tampa, Florida. My dad was stationed at MacDill Air Force Base, and then I went to college at Clemson University in South Carolina.
Was he Air Force?
He was Army.
He was Army.
He was a helicopter pilot.
Oh, helicopter pilot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So, we are here to talk about the flower ceremony that occurred last November, 2021. What was your participation in that? What was your involvement?
Well, I was a volunteer through the local Daughters of the American Revolution chapter in Alexandria, and it was an amazing experience and opportunity. I showed up very early that morning and moved flowers from trucks into the basement of the tomb, and then we cut them and put them in water to prepare them for the ceremony the following day. And we had thousands and thousands of flowers to get ready.
Right. Tell me about DAR real quick. What is that organization?
Sure. Daughters of the American Revolution. We are all daughters of people, patriots, and soldiers and service members who fought in the Revolution. And there are thousands of us around the world.
Okay. What is your connection to somebody that fought in the Revolution?
So I had several family members who fought in the Revolution, all from North Carolina, who came to the country from Ireland and from Scotland.
Okay.
And my patriot was related to President James K. Polk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what kind of things does that organization do?
We do a lot of fundraising and charitable work, a lot of recognition for military members, veterans, people who served in the military, and especially honoring those who paid the ultimate sacrifice.
Right. And why was it important for you to be involved in the flower ceremony? What drew you to that opportunity?
Well, I think growing up as the daughter of a service member, you know, I saw every day for 26 years sort of the sacrifice that those who serve in the military, the sacrifices that they make, and saw my mom, you know, having to move her whole family every 2 years. And I thought it was important to be able to go and show respect to those who paid the ultimate sacrifice and honor their memory, and to show their friends and family members and loved ones that the sacrifice was not lost, and that there were people who still appreciated and respected that they gave their life for all of us.
Right.
That was very important to me to do that.
It's been said that the first unknown that's buried there at Arlington and the subsequent unknowns, that they continue to serve today. Do you believe that they're still serving their country all these years later?
I do. You know, this country was built on all of that history, and we have the freedoms that we have today because of their sacrifice. And if we forget that and we don't continue to honor that, then there will be, you know, in my opinion, negative change in the country. And one of the things that was so refreshing to me was seeing those thousands of people standing in line for an hour to spend just a few seconds, you know, honoring the memory and the sacrifice of those men and women. That was very refreshing.
Right. You know, with today's technology, there's probably never going to be another unknown. We can identify somebody from a fingernail. You know? Do you think that the tomb is still relevant 100 years later and will still be into the future?
I think it's more relevant than it's ever been. The world is so small, the globe is so small, and sometimes we get complacent with freedom and democracy and history. If you look at current events, what's happening in Russia and Ukraine, I think it's a reminder that we have to stay strong as Americans, and we have to stand up for freedom and democracy. And so those people who serve our country now and their family members are even more relevant than they have been before.
Right, right. Tell us about that day. What do you remember? Were you there for both days or just?
I was there for both days.
Okay. Well, tell us about that.
It was beautiful weather. I mean, I was expecting it to be cold and rainy, and we had beautiful weather. It was almost as if God had picked the weather just for that event. And it was quiet, and there were babies being pushed in strollers and senior citizens being pushed in wheelchairs, and people from all walks of life, and people who'd come from different states and had come just specifically for this reason. And it was very moving. Some people were very quiet and didn't want to talk to us. Some were very friendly, but everyone thanked us when we gave them the flower, and they all waited patiently for their turn. It was a very moving and very poignant experience.
What kind of preparation goes into that from your perspective? I mean, there's a lot of flowers.
There were a lot of flowers, more than I ever anticipated.
Right. So
yeah.
What kind of preparations did you undertake to get to that?
Yeah.
To those 2 days.
So we had truckloads of flowers that we had to move in buckets and boxes.
Were those donated?
They were donated, yes. We had to move them from the truck onto a cart, and then move them to the cart all the way down underneath the tomb, and open the boxes and cut all the flowers and take them out and put them in water, which there was not a water source nearby. So it was a lot of looking for buckets and filling buckets and moving back and forth. That was quite sore that afternoon after we had done all the flowers. But we wanted to do that to try to get them to open up overnight so that they would be pretty for the next day. It took many, many hours, and probably 5 or 6 of us to do all of that. Yeah, there were flowers everywhere.
Were people bringing their own flowers?
Some people did.
Well?
Yeah, some people brought their own flowers.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What did you observe that day as far as the people, the participants go? Any groups that stand out, or any people specifically that stand out?
There were a lot of people in uniform, a lot of young people in uniform. There were, again, all different types of people, and lots of babies, and lots of people who'd come with their parents who were older. A lot of people with Vietnam patches and hats on, and a lot of veterans' hats on. And it was interesting to see all of the different types of people who would come, and some dressed in suits, some dressed in jeans, some dressed in biker outfits, but everyone was there, I think, for the same reason.
Right. I imagine there were a lot of people that were just there that day, didn't even really know what was going on until, right? I mean, certainly there's people that came for the event, but then there's people that were just there because they were going to be there that day.
Yes, and there were also some funerals taking place, right. And so we saw those processions as well. And so I imagine some of those people came. There was some communications that had gone out that said you had to register in advance, but there were several people who just got in the line, right, and asked us if it was okay to do that, and we said, of course, yeah.
Right. How about anybody, visitors from other countries?
I didn't notice anybody visiting from another country, but I didn't necessarily ask either. Some people, it was clear they didn't want to talk. They were there, with their own private thoughts. And some people spoke to us, but some people were there, consumed with their own memories and thoughts. Yeah.
Right. Everybody was well behaved. I mean, you can always
go
on
yes,
YouTube and find
yes.
videos of people doing stuff they shouldn't.
No, everybody was well behaved, even the little children and the babies. Nobody crying, and everyone was very patiently waiting in line. I think the beautiful weather helped.
Right.
And just having the opportunity to do something like this, which has never been allowed before, I think people were very happy to be patient and wait in line.
Right.
Yeah.
You were there both days, all day?
The second day, I was there only half the day. I had to get back to work, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm told the members of the Crow Nation were there?
Yes,
Did you witness any of that?
I saw that. Yes, I watched the ceremony that morning, and watched many of them lay flowers as well, both before and after the ceremony. I wasn't familiar with that story,
Right.
and so
they'd been there 100 years ago.
yes, right. I wasn't familiar with that, but when I saw them, then I went and read all about the history and them being there before, and it was very beautiful. The colors, the music, the respect, the dance. It was just really a memorable experience.
Right. How about the members of the old guard that were there on duty that day? What do you remember about them? This is something totally different for them, obviously. Everything, the public has never been that
right.
close. The mat was moved.
Yeah.
Everything was different.
I don't think they missed a beat. They did their jobs as normally as they could. It would be interesting to talk to them and get their perspective on what they witnessed, but they just went about and did everything around all of the thousands of us who were there.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you were the person in charge, is this an event? Let me ask another question. How would you have changed anything or improved what went on that day if you were the person in charge or tasked with making those decisions?
Right.
Is there anything that could have been done better?
Well,
there's nothing to compare this to. So.
There's nothing. I live in Washington, D.C., so we hear about things and learn about things that other people outside of the country may not know or hear about. I would hope that this was broadcast and people were talking about it and still talk about it, and that it had been publicized, because again, I think it's important for people to remember the sacrifices that the members of the services have made and the importance of it. And I would hope that people who volunteered and who were there and have shared their stories, that gets out around the country, so people will know if there's ever an opportunity to do it again, that they'll come and visit and be part of it.
Right. And that leads me to the next question. Would you like to see this done again?
Yes.
And should it be every year, every 10 years, or should we wait another 100?
I don't think we should wait another 100. And I don't know if we should do it every year either, because it's special. And, you don't want to lose the specialness of something like this. But right. I do think it should be done more often. Yeah.
How does this affect you personally? I mean, you're someone that has a military family background. You're very involved in that kind of thing. How does this affect you, seeing the outpouring of support that the public had, being involved in it to the degree you were?
It made me very proud to be an American. Our country's gone through a lot of struggles the last few years, and sometimes you lose hope and faith, and you wonder about the future of the country. But standing there those couple of days and seeing all of those people come, kind of restored my faith in the direction of the country. Right. and helped sort of make me feel great again about being an American. And I've worked in politics for a long time. I've had a lot of really wonderful experiences here, and this was probably one of the most amazing things I have ever done.
What was it like? So you laid a flower as well?
I did.
What was that experience like?
Yeah. It's hard to explain, because I watched hundreds of people do it before I got my chance. But then when I got close and I walked up closer, I found myself kind of out of breath a little bit and nervous, because I wanted to hurry and let the people behind me come so I didn't take up their time. But then I also wanted to say a prayer and make sure that I was saying everything I wanted to say. And then I realized that I had tears in my eyes, which I didn't expect to happen, because I'd been watching all of these people do it all day. But it moved me. And if there's ever a chance I get to volunteer at Arlington Cemetery again, I would do it in a heartbeat. Right. Yeah.
If one of the reasons that we're doing this, obviously, is to preserve your experiences, preserve the experiences of everybody that was there, because like you said, a lot of people one, don't even know about this, that it
Right.
even happened. So what kind of message would you send somebody that might see this on the 200th anniversary of the tomb, 100 years from now?
Right. Please come visit. Please come see. Come to Arlington. Even though you may not personally know someone who's buried there, the things that you do and enjoy are because of all of those people. And so I think it's important for school kids to learn about the history of our country and how we got to be where we are. And so every year in DC, to make sure to stop and visit and come pay your respects.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I tell this to people, I've lived in this area for a very long time, and a lot of times you just don't want to go or do anything because it's such a hassle sometimes to go and do things, but it's definitely worth it, in your opinion, to make that effort to get there.
It is. And it's very easy with public transportation.
Right.
It's right there. And now with Uber, you
Right.
don't even have to drive yourself and look for parking, even though there is a parking lot. But
Right.
I would hope that everyone would have a chance to come and visit. And certainly if you're in Washington, D.C., don't miss the opportunity.
Right. Right. And lastly, is there anything else that you want to mention or talk about that I didn't ask you? Any last words, I guess?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I was very glad to have the opportunity. I was very glad that I volunteered, and I hope to be able to do it again. It was a life-changing experience, and I hope that other people would have a chance to do something like that again in the future.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on behalf of the Americans in Wartime Experience, thank you
Thank
for sitting down and
you.
talking
Yeah.
to us. Your volunteering has continued because this is obviously an important extension of that day.
Sure.
So we
Thank
appreciate
you.
you sitting down.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah.